Mayor, you were saying a while ago, ano na po yung sunod na step na gagawin ng city government in line with the investigation of flood control projects?
Yeah, of course we want to help. We want to do our part. Sa totoo, natutuwa nga kami kasi presidente na mismo yung tumitingin eh. So alam naman natin ng katotohanan, pag presidente ang tumingin, lahat titingin na rin. Lahat pagtutuunan na ito ng pansin. So kami rin, gusto naming tumulong sa pamamagitan ng investigation. Of course, within our area of responsibility. So ngayon, actually ito, hinanda namin yung Freedom of Information or FOI request para sa DPWH. Maya-maya, makikita nyo na siya sa e-FOI platform. Tapos papadala din namin syempre yung hard copy. Hihingi kami sa DPWH ng mga program of work, and it's a list of around 21 documents. Pero yung isa sa importante dito yung program of works, yung bill of quantities, para makita namin kung ano ba talaga yung dapat na sa project. Ano ba talaga yung nandun. Kasi ito nakita namin sa sumbong sa Pangulo website. Sa totoo, wala naman kaming complete list ng mga proyekto na flood control. Hindi lang flood control, kahit anong infrastructure projects, wala kaming complete list. Minsan nagko-coordinate sa amin pag kailangan ng tulong para sa right of way o para sa relocation ng informal settlers or other residents for that matter. Pero pag hindi nila kailangan doon, hindi naman talaga madalas, hindi naman lagi, pero madalas hindi talaga nagko-coordinate. Wala kaming complete list. So with the list we found through the sumbong sa Pangulo website, now we're requesting for all of the information so that we can check. Not to find fault, hindi kami naghahanap ng mali, hindi kami maghahanap ng mali, pero tingnan natin kung tama o mali ba yung nandun. Kung may kulang, o baka naman kumpleto, di okay lang. Kung may kulang, at least magkaalaman po tayo, malaman natin. Kasi sa ibang lugar, nakita natin may mga kulang, may substandard, yung haba ng bakal, kalahati, etc. Diba? Nakita naman natin sa balita. So, again, we want to do our part and help investigate, if it will help, para malaman natin yung katotohanan.
Do you see that as a loophole in the law? The fact na yung national projects hindi kino-coordinate sa LGU?
Well, we're hoping that after all of this, one of the things that will come out of all of it is that there will be better coordination from national government agencies and local government units with the local government units. Kasi makakatulong naman po kami. Makakatulong kami to monitor. Ang nangyayari kasi minsan, magugulat na lang kami, ay may project pala. Tapos, pag nakita namin, kunyari, may title, slope protection, etc. Kung naman title ng project. Okay, may project, nakita namin, may ginagawa. Paano namin mag-gauge kung tama, kung kulang, sobra, or sakto lang yung ginagawa? Wala kaming paraan para malaman. Ang dami palang controversies, ang dami palang problema.
May push ngayon na i-include yung LGU sa approval ng lahat ng projects before it goes up to the national. But some critics are saying na it's another layer to the bureaucracy and another layer na potentially may be corrupted by ill actors.
Totoo yan. Of course, as much as possible, we don't want to add additional layers to the bureaucracy. But at the same time, when we talk about things, for instance, like roads, flood protection, flood control programs, hindi naman pwede na hindi alam ng LGU. Kasi minsan, halimbawa, may simple drainage. May gagawin ng isang grupo, tatamaan yung existing project, or minsan may existing or may proposed project kami, naglaan na kami ng pondo, yun pala may project din ng national.
Duplication.
So, masasayang yung pondo namin. It's not necessarily about corruption. It's also about efficiency. It's about proper planning. It's about proper coordination in order to deliver services better. So again, in the instance of, or in the example of flood control projects, as simple as drainage that might be proposed by either the national or the local government or even the barangay. Sometimes they have their own projects. So, hindi naman pwedeng ganun na magkakanya-kanya tayo. Kailangan magtulungan talaga.
In an ideal setup, if you have a good government,
excuse me, sorry.
Then that kind of system works. Pero it's a reality na not all local government units are trustworthy, at least in the Philippines. How do you insulate the system from being another layer ng corruption in this entire mess?
I think that's a separate problem. It's a real problem, it's a valid problem, but it's separate. We have to talk about first proper coordination, proper planning, and then the next question is how do we prevent the corruption? Kasi tama ka naman, the more layers there are, the more people are consulted, the more offices are necessary for approval, then there are more opportunities for corruption. Baka mamaya kasama na yung LGU sa sinasabing SOP or pass-through, di ba? Baka mamaya, imbis na makatulong, imbis na mapaganda, mapasama pa, even if the intention is good. So, I don't know all the answers, but I do know that in order to prevent corruption, there must be people who are caught. Ibig sabihin, kailangan may managot sa previous acts of corruption. Kung sa palagay ng lahat ng nasa gobyerno, ay napakababa naman ng tsansa na mahuli. Kung gagawa ako ng ganito, maybe there's a 0.0001% chance that I will get caught. What will deter me? Diba, sabi nga sa pag pinag-aaralan ng corruption and combating corruption, ang laging sinasabi ng mga eksperto, it's not about the length of the sentence, it's not about what laws you have, it's about the certainty of being caught. Yun yung pinaka-importante sa laban kontra korupsyon, na may nahuhuli, may napaparusahan, may napapanagot ang pamahalaan at ang taong bayan. So, really, the focus should be now, in my opinion, the focus should be on how do we improve, how do we strengthen the institutions of justice for better accountability, for greater accountability in government.
Gaano ka-vulnerable yung local government officials when it comes to these corrupt practices sa pagtatayo ng infrastructure, particularly flood control projects?
Open secret naman sa gobyerno eh. You know, I know, everyone in government knows the practices. Nakakalungkot, di ba? Sa ibang larangan, pag sinabing SOP, ito yung mga standard nila sa trabaho. Standard operating procedure, if you're an engineer, you're a accountant, whatever your profession is, may mga SOPs kayo sa trabaho na pag ito yung trabaho, may step A, step B, step C. Nakakalungkot na pag ginamit yung term sa gobyerno, kadalasan ang tinutukoy ay korupsyon. Automatic, standard na yung kickbacks. Of course, as we've seen with the presentations of Senator Ping Lacson, I've heard Mayor Benji Magalong talking about it quite a bit as well. The SOP may differ, the rates may differ per LGU or per agency, but the fact remains that it's an open secret in government. So if you're asking me how vulnerable, then the answer is it's systemic, if not endemic, and that's really the problem. The problem isn't that there are a few bad eggs. The problem isn't that you have one or two bad Filipinos. The problem is that the problem is systemic, if not endemic already. Kailangan talaga may drastic na mangyari dito. And I think, at least I hope, we're in the right direction now.
Let's cite certain anecdotes. What do people tell you? Paano inaalok? Paano ino-offeran? Ano yung particular schemes that you've seen or heard of, at least here in Pasig?
nung bago ako, nung bago akong mayor noong 2019, lalo nung paupo pa lang ako, marami nagkwento sa akin ito yung ginagawa dati. Ang mahirap din talaga dito sa laban kontra korupsyon, ang hirap maghanap ng ebidensya. Yun talaga yung number one. Kasi wala naman na amin. Pangalawa, wala naman yan paper trail. Kung tatanggap ka ng lagay, tatanggap ka ng kickback, SOP, hindi mo naman i-receive eh. Di ba? Wala naman na, si ganito, Governor X or Congressman Y, Mayor A, tumanggap ng gantong ilang milyong piso. Wala naman ebidensya eh. It's all done most likely all in cash. Puro salita lang yan. Walang written documents yan. Ang hirap hulihin. So, again, going back to my story from 2019, dami nagkwento sa akin na sa infra, at least 30% yan. Tapos, nung bagong upo ako, must have been within the first quarter, for first 100 days definitely, no, bagong mayor ako. May mga punta sa opisina. So, in-entertain ko a group of maybe 10, 20, or 30 people. So, kinausap ko sila, ano pong maitutulong ko sa inyo? Sila daw yung mga matatagal ng contractor sa City Hall. Ito, inakwento ko naman to in public dati pa. So, sabi ko, ano pong, may problema po ba? O ano? Kasi dati, ganito yung kalakaran. Without using the word kalakaran. Sabi nila, ito yung ginagawa dati. Pag may listahan o may budget, tinatanong kami ano yung magandang gawin na project, o tinatanong kami kung ano yung gusto namin gawin na infra project. Tapos, syempre may SOP, ganyan. They're very open about it. So, ginawa ko na lang malinaw. Sabi ko, from now on, while I'm here, wala tayong pag-uusapan na SOP. Wala rin tayong pag-uusapan na diploma system or whatever they used to call it. Basta, kung ano yung tamang proseso sa batas, sumunod kayo, mag-bid kayo kung kayong lowest qualified, sunod sa 9184, RA 9184, di mananalo kayo. Ganun lang kasimple. So,
diploma system?
Parang binibigay lang na ganun yung kontrata. Basically, I don't know the details, pero yun yung kinakwento sa akin kahit mga political leaders, barangay captains, minsan kagawad pag malakas. So kung yan, may listahan ng projects, ito sa ito, parang ganun daw yun.
Sinong nagbibigay po? City official or contractor or middleman?
Ayon sa kwento nila, yung mayor mismo.
Bibigay talaga. Kunyari, to life for you.
Hindi naman siguro literal na.
Dito ka bibigyan ka ng
yun yung pag-describe nila sa akin noon. Again, kwento lang to. Pero yun nga, babalik tayo sa problema. Ang hirap niyang patunayan. Kahit sabihin, dapat kasuhan natin to, panagutin natin. Saan tayo mag-uumpisa? Kahit yung pera mismo, nagastos na yun. Wala na yun. So, again, what's important is that we build stronger institutions, number one. Number two, we have to, kailangan maging nakakadiri yung korupsyon. Kailangan hindi siya maging katanggap-tanggap. I think, unfortunately, through the years, that's really what's happened. It's become accepted. Naging katanggap-tanggap siya sa atin lahat. And I think all of us are guilty here. I think and I think that's the first step if we want to fix this. Kailangan aminin natin na at some level all of us are guilty here. Hindi ibig sabihin may natanggap tayo. Pero ibig sabihin at some point hinayaan natin na pumayag tayo na naging perception natin or thinking natin na hindi, ganyan talaga. Pag politiko, talagang yayaman yan. Pagka mayor na, talagang yayaman yan. Ganun talaga. Parang naging accepted siya kahit magtanong tayo sa ordinaryong tao, mag-random survey ka, tanungin mo siguro, ang politiko ba yung mayaman? Karamihan sasabihin, oo naging accepted I think that's the first step. We have to challenge that thinking, challenge that system, challenge that culture. Basagin natin yun. And the first, again, isa sa unang kailangan gawin, pag-usapan natin.
Hot topic now online is yung mga vloggers, social media influencers, content creators na nagfa-flaunt ng wealth nila and then apparently connected pala sila sa isang contractor. Do you think that should be frowned upon? Or at least, should we build a mindset na kapag nakita tayo ng, wow, sobrang yaman, dapat ba may instant instinct na tayong ma-develop na saan muna galing?
Hirap kasi wala naman masama maging mayaman kung galing yan sa maayos na paraan, kung pinaghirapan yan. Kung pinaghirapan mo o pinaghirapan ng pamilya mo yan, wala naman masama. Of course, as public officials, we have a code of ethics. Ostentatious display of wealth is also not good regardless of the source. But Pero siguro yung mga nakita talaga natin na connected sa contractor, sila naman nag-post nun online, di ba? So, bigyan natin sila ng atensyon kung gusto nila.
Pero as you mentioned, medyo accepted na nga na instead na i-question kung saan galing to.
Yeah,
Parang
tama ka doon. Talagang yun nga I think that's one proof o malakas na ebidensya na yun na naging katanggap-tanggap siya. Parang hinahangaan pa natin. I guess everything that's happening now for the better. I think it's all for the better. Papaisip na tayo ngayon, di ba? Pag may nakita na tayo, pinagmamalaki yung travels, luxury cars, nasa yate nagpa-party, gano'n. At least, ngayon, papaisip tayo. Papaisip na tayo. Kasi ako, marami naman akong kakilalang mayayaman, may malalaking negosyo, pero hindi naman ganun. Kahit mga siguro pabilyonaryo na, hindi mo naman ma-afford yung ganun eh. Without mentioning specifics, yung mga ibang nakikita natin even on social media, parang imposible eh. Unless hindi pinaghirapan siguro.
And branding it as aspirational.
Oo, yun nga eh. Sabi nga, dati ang usong mga kwento from rags to riches. Ngayon daw, ang uso ng kwento from rubs to riches. Kaya medyo nakakalungkot. Pero kailangan nga, pansinin natin yung mga ganong kwento, yung mga ganong pagkakataon. Gawin natin siyang hindi normal at gawin natin siyang hindi nakaka-inspire.
Mayor, another scheme na kwento mo in passing on social media is yung mga may set ng calling cards tapos mamimili ka. Tell us more about that.
Isang tao lang naman yun, di ba?
Pero scheme in general.
No.
Di mo sure kung siya lang yung ganun. Baka may iba hindi natin alam ganun din.
Yung nagpakita sa akin nung mga calling cards na yun, yung source ko ng calling cards na yun, siya mismo nagbigay nun. Ibig sabihin, si Sir Curly mismo yung nagbigay nun sa kanya. Allegedly, inaalok daw siya ng projects, kung anong gusto, tapos alam niyo na kung ano yung susunod doon.
Bakit may set ng calling cards na dapat pagpilian?
Lahat kasi yun, mga AAA or quadruple A. I'm not sure if all, but most of them would be AAA. A number of them are quadruple A. So may mga pick-up lines. Kompleto yan. Malalaki na yung mga NFCC and SLCC nila. So, kumpleto yan. So, kumbaga, may mili ka na lang siguro doon kung ano yung gusto mo.
Mayor, for the common Filipino na hindi
siguro, ganito na lang siguro. So, sorry for interrupting. Yung mga nangyayari, mga nakikita natin ngayon, marami dyan talagang papel-papel na lang eh. So, to comply with the law, they have all the necessary documents and paperwork. So they have the quadruple A rating, they have the necessary SLCC, the NFCC. Ibig sabihin, may mga kontrata na sila na malaki dati, so they're qualified for bigger ones. Ibig sabihin, sapat yung credit line nila sa bangko, or again, yung NFCC. Ang ibig ko lang sabihin, without becoming too technical, kompleto yung dokumento nila, minsan, yun lang talaga yung binibigay nila in exchange for a sum. So again, it varies. Pero madalas, ito yung naririnig natin na sa totoo, hindi sila yung gumagawa.
Pahiram resibo?
Pinapahiram lang yung resibo in exchange for what they call royalties or a percentage of the total. Na sa totoo, sobrang lantaran na pagka nakausap mo ang ibang chief executive sa ibang lugar, ibang congressman, they've become so open about it. Of course, not to the media, not to the public, but hindi ko nga masabing inner circle eh. Pero pag narinig mo yung ibang mga kwento minsan, parang may isa recently, narinig ako, inalok daw siya. Thankfully, ito hindi tinanggap, pero may isa, inalok daw siya 40% advance. Kaya daw kahit anong project. Basta sa kanila daw bibigay 40% advance in cash. Kahit wala pang notice of award, bibigay na daw yung 40%.
Saan so, mapupunta yung 60?
May ko alam, siguro sa project. Or baka may ibang, siyempre may mga ibang hatian pa nga yan, di ba? So, kaya yung mga nababalitaan natin ngayon na less than half, yung sinasabi ni Senator Lacson ngayon, na less than half na lang yan napupunta sa madalas. Less than half na lang ng contract cost yung napupunta talaga sa project. Totoo talaga eh. Kasi doon pa lang sa mga naririnig nating kwento, ganun na 40% advance pa lang.
How do you then insulate? Kasi sinasabi nila, good governance here in Pasig City. How do you insulate the bureaucracy from corrupt practices?
Well, number one is strengthening institutions. For instance, sa procurement, gumawa kami ng bagong opisina, yung Procurement Management Office. We hired professionals. We hired a lot of new people who were aligned with what we wanted to do, with clean, good governance. So, malaki naman yung napagtagumpayan na. Pero yung pinakamalaki talaga dyan, di tatanggap yung mayor. I mean,
it all boils down to electing the right official?
Maybe as a start. But again, when you talk about strengthening institutions, it's involving civil society, including them in the process. Nasa batas naman to eh. Pero depende kung gagawin mo talaga o hindi. Capacity building of these procurement observers, civil society organizations who will observe the procurement process. Tinuturuan namin sila ano yung mga red flags para sa susunod. Pag natapos na yung term ko, iba na yung mayor. Hopefully, pagpatuloy. Pero in case na hindi, kung sa 2031, 2034, 2037, biglang iba yung direction ng mayor, at the very least, may papalag na, uy, dati naka-live yung bidding nyo, ba't ngayon hindi na? Or dati reported lahat, pwede kami kumuha ng gantong dokumento, bakit ngayon hindi na? Dati pwede kami mag-attend ng ganto, ba't ngayon bawal na? So at the very least, di ba? There's no 100% foolproof safeguard. Wala naman ganun kahit saan sa mundo. But in line with strengthening institutions, you're also raising the expectations of the people. So as you raise expectations of the people, na ito na yung inaasahan nila sa gobyerno, sa hinaharap, mas mahirap nang i-reverse yun. Mas mahirap nang baguhin yun. So again, it's not 100% safeguard. Walang ganun. But you take steps in the right direction.
To circle back, to wrap up this interview, let's circle back from where we started. You mentioned your LGU's willingness na makipagtulungan sa national government. Pero kung national government yung hihiling ng tulong nyo, say for example, join the independent body na magko-conduct ng independent probe into these flood control projects, how willing will you be in participating?
Ayoko na sumagot ng hypothetical. Kung may actual na magtatanong sa akin, tsaka na lang ako sasagot.
So you were not, kasi yung iba, ang argument nila is, I'm too preoccupied doon sa city ko, doon sa municipality ko.
It depends kung ano yung tatanungin eh.
Or kung anong position yung tatanggapin.
Kung ano yung tatanungin. So ngayon wala naman eh. So hindi na para sumagot ng hypothetical question.
But from the stance of a good governance advocate,
sino
dapat?
Basta kung anong kami sa side ng LGU, kung anong kaya namin may tulong even with parallel investigations, with programs or projects here within our area of responsibility, gagawin namin yon. Kung may input kami na mabigay, o may ambag kaming insight o opinion, gagawin din yan. Kung may nalalaman kami, kung may impormasyon kami, maliit man o malaki, itutulong namin yun.
Who would you recommend to head that panel? Or sufficient na ba sa'yo ang COA, considering that they are mired in allegations as well?
Someone from the outside. Putting me on the spot, wala akong maisip na pangalan. But maybe someone from the outside with a good reputation.
Outside of government?
Siguro. With a good reputation na may expertise din naman sana kahit papaano.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for the latest hot news of the press.